You are standing in the dust of Belo Horizonte. It is the 29th of June, 1950, and the heat presses down on a rough little ground called the Estadio Independencia. You are wearing the white of England. Across the touchline stand men who are not even full professionals: a dishwasher, a mailman, a hearse driver, an immigrant who is not yet a citizen of the country whose name is on his shirt. The newspapers back home have already printed the result they expect. 10 goals, maybe more. You only have to walk it in. And then the 38th minute arrives and the world tilts. A midfielder named Walter Barr swings a hopeful ball toward goal from 25 yards. It is going wide, harmless, nothing. But a forward named Joe Gaetjens throws himself sideways and the ball flicks off the side of his head, changing direction, looping past your goalkeeper Bert Williams before he can move his feet. 1-0 to the United States, to a team that had lost its last 7 games by a combined score that does not bear repeating. You attack, you hammer the goal. You hit the post, you hit the bar, you hit everything except the back of the net. And when the final whistle blows, the scoreline reads United States 1, England 0, and the men who report it back to London assume it is a typo. They print it as 10-1, because the truth is too absurd to be true. This is where our story begins. Not with the champions lifting the trophy, but with the moment the champions fell. Because if you want to understand the soul of the World Cup, you do not look at the winners. You look at the giant killers, the teams who were told they could not. The afternoons when the impossible put on its boots and walked onto the pitch. This is the beautiful madness. 16 years after Belo Horizonte, the giants fell again, and this time the killers came from the most unlikely place on the map. The summer of 1966. England, the hosts, are romancing their way toward glory, and in the industrial north, in a town called Middlesbrough, a team has arrived that nobody understands. North Korea. A nation cut off from the world, debutantes, written off before a ball is kicked, expected to lose every match and go home quietly. Something strange happens instead. The people of Middlesbrough, these flat-capped steelworkers and shipbuilders, fall in love with them. The small men in red who run and never stop. They pack the little ground at Ayresome Park and they roar for a country they have only seen on a map. And on the 19th of July, the North Koreans face Italy, twice champions of the world, a nation of footballing aristocrats. You are in the stands now and you cannot believe what you are watching. In the 42nd minute, the ball breaks on the edge of the Italian box and a soldier, a corporal named Pak Du-ik, takes one touch, sets himself, and drives it low and hard past the goalkeeper, Enrico Albertosi. 1-0, North Korea. The Italians lay siege, they cannot break through. The whistle blows and the impossible is final. The Asian debutantes have knocked one of the greatest footballing nations on earth out of the World Cup. The Italian players will fly home and be pelted with rotten tomatoes at the airport. And the men of Middlesbrough will tell their grandchildren for the rest of their lives that they were there the day little Korea slew the giant. Here is the thread that runs through all of it. The giant believes the result before the game is played. The giant killer does not. And in that gap, between certainty and disbelief, the whole drama of football lives. Move forward now to the 8th of June, 1990, the San Siro in Milan, the opening match of the World Cup, the showpiece, the eyes of the planet. And in the blue and white of Argentina stands the man many call the greatest who ever lived, Diego Maradona, reigning champion, captain, the soul of the team that lifted the trophy 4 years before. Across from him, Cameroon, the indomitable Lions. Africa, dismissed by Europe and South America as a place that produced flair but never results. The bookmakers do not give them a prayer. What follows is brutal and beautiful. Cameroon do not just defend, they hunt. They throw their bodies at Maradona. They foul, they fight. They refuse to be afraid. And in the 61st minute, Omam-Biyik is sent off. Cameroon are down to 10 men against the world champions, and there are nearly 30 minutes still to play. So of course, they score. A cross hangs in the Milan night. Francois Omam-Biyik climbs and meets it with his head. It is not a perfect header. It bounces, it squirms, and the Argentine goalkeeper, Neri Pumpido, lets it slither through his hands and over the line. 1-0, Cameroon, 10 men against the champions, and they are winning. Now they suffer. They drop deep, they clear everything, they put their bodies in front of every shot. And in the final minute, Benjamin Massing produces a tackle so violent it nearly removes a man from the sport entirely. And he too is sent off. 9 men holding the line against Maradona and the champions of the world. The whistle goes. Cameroon 1, Argentina 0. A continent that had been told it could only dream had just won the opening match of the World Cup, with 9 men on the pitch. 2 years later, half the planet would be supporting an African team for the very first time. It started here, in the dust and the fury of the San Siro. 12 years pass. The 31st of May, 2002. Seoul, the opening match again. And again, the champions are about to be humbled. France arrive as kings of everything. World champions, European champions, a team of Galacticos, the most feared side on earth. Their opponents are Senegal, a nation playing in its first ever World Cup, a squad whose players had grown up watching the very Frenchmen they are about to face. The Lions of Teranga. Nobody outside their own borders expects them to survive the group, let alone the first 90 minutes. You are watching the 30th minute. El Hadji Diouf bursts down the left, leaving a French defender for dead, and rolls the ball low across the face of goal. It skids through a forest of legs, and there, sliding in, stretching every sinew, is Papa Bouba Diop, a giant of a man who jabs it over the line and into the net. 1-0, Senegal. The reigning champions of the world, undone in their opening game by a team of debutants. Diop runs to the corner, pulls off his shirt, lays it on the grass, and the whole Senegalese bench dances around it. It becomes one of the most joyful images the tournament has ever produced. France, the defending champions, would not score a single goal in the entire tournament. They would go home in the group stage, humiliated. And Senegal would march all the way to the quarter-finals. So now you know the pattern. You have felt it 5 times in the telling, and in 2022, in a gleaming stadium in the Qatari desert, it happened one last time, to the greatest player of his generation, the 22nd of November. Lusail, Argentina, unbeaten in 36 matches, are the favourites to win the whole thing. Lionel Messi, in what everyone believes is his final World Cup, steps up in the 10th minute and slots home a penalty. The script is writing itself. The coronation has begun. Across from him stand Saudi Arabia, ranked 51st in the world, given no chance, 3 of their goals already chalked off for offside by the thinnest of margins. At half-time it is 1-0 to Argentina, and the world is settling in to watch a procession. Then comes the madness. The 48th minute, Saleh Al-Shehri threads a shot into the far corner. 1-1. 5 minutes later, Salem Al-Dawsari collects the ball, turns inside 2 defenders as if they are not there, and curls a shot of impossible beauty into the top corner past Emiliano Martinez. 2-1. Saudi Arabia. And then they defend with their lives, block after block, header after header, the goalkeeper throwing himself across his line, until the whistle finally blows and a whole nation falls to its knees. Argentina would recover. Argentina would, in fact, go on to win the entire tournament. But for one afternoon in the desert, the giant killers had struck again, and Messi himself had been brought low by a team nobody had believed in. This is the thread, and it never breaks. From a dishwasher in Belo Horizonte to a soldier in Middlesbrough, from 9 men in Milan to a folded shirt in Seoul to a curling shot in Lusail, the World Cup belongs again and again to the ones who refuse to know their place. The giants will always come, and the killers will always be waiting. In 2026, somewhere across North America, it will happen again. A team will walk out against impossible odds, and 90 minutes later, the world will never be the same. Subscribe, and we'll keep bringing you these stories.